is puzzled about and doesn't understand and wants questions. And the story, in some ways it's worked, and in other ways it hasn't worked. And so the character in the story has come here and wants to know how to make the story work better. Isn't that so?
Yes.
Now, whatever answers anybody can give you of how to make the story work better, there are things you can make the story work better, but all that doesn't really help unless you get to the bottom behind the story, the I behind the story. Then, if you are in touch with that throughout your life, the story will unfold with much greater ease because there is a deeper dimension that is there. But if there's only the story, nothing will ever satisfy the main character in that story, you. If the main character in that story, you, has never known the deeper I, the timeless presence that is the consciousness that you are, the attentive, spacious Can you feel that your body is alive?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you feel the aliveness inside your body, I call it inner body, the usually hyperactive mind slows down. Now the hyperactive mind is extremely repetitive. You might have noticed that probably 99% of your thoughts, you've had them before, they're repetitive. So new thoughts are relatively rare when there's only the hyperactive mind. It's just the same old things going through your mind again and again. The moment you feel the inner body, in order to be able to feel the aliveness here, some of your attention has to go from the head within into the body. So you're removing some attention away from thinking. It doesn't necessarily mean that thinking stops totally, but it subsides, it slows down. There may even be little spaces in between one thought and the next thought. So thinking slows down because part of your attention is in the inner energy field, the aliveness, that most people never feel because they're so absorbed in their thoughts they don't even feel that they are alive anymore. So thinking subsides, and there are even little spaces in between thoughts, and then it's much more likely that thoughts that come then are new thoughts. Sometimes they are insights, they are new ways of looking at things, sudden realizations. They can only come if you are able to calm the mind, but not as something that you feel, I need to calm my mind, but simply by diverting attention away from it, not by making some effort to calm your mind. All you do is you take attention away from it, and so then there is more spaciousness, not just one thought after another, and then your thinking actually improves, which means it's more alive, more original, it's more powerful, you have better ideas, and the way in which you interact with people is more real, Because the real comes not from the accumulated stuff in your mind, that's all the roles that you play, not just you, everybody. Everybody plays their roles. They've been conditioned to play certain roles. You have an image of who you are. When you meet a beautiful woman, you play a certain role. You want to have the best possible image. You present the best possible image, and she does the same. You can observe it when two young people are attracted to each other. They meet the first few days and weeks. They look different from the way they usually look because they present an image like that wants to attract the other, and it's unconscious. It's a role that they play. It's only after the honeymoon, when everyday life begins, that gradually the image, and you believe that that image that you see in her is who she is, and she believes that you don't know that you're both playing roles, but you cannot keep up the roles indefinitely. So after the honeymoon, gradually they wear down the roles, and then there becomes some discontent arises, and suddenly the mask slips. The role is, you can't play a role continuously. The role of me, the attractive one. So that's to get out of the role playing that otherwise you're stuck with for the rest of your life. You have a certain role for your partner for a while. You have another role for your work situation. You have another role for wherever you go. You slip into subtle differences in the way in which you behave. When you talk to the chairman of the board or the Dalai Lama, you will behave in a certain way, and then you might notice when you talk to the plumber, there will be subtle differences in the way in which you talk. You play a different role. You think, oh, this is not appropriate here.
Right.
It's only when you stop playing roles, when you observe the Dalai Lama, how he behaves. No, you might have thought, well, the Dalai Lama probably plays the role of the Dalai Lama, but he doesn't. There's such simplicity, openness, and genuineness in him. He talks the same way to everybody. Whether he meets the plumber or the Pope makes no difference, because he doesn't play conditioned roles anymore. And that is only possible when you access a dimension within yourself that is deeper than the mind. And we just did it, or we are still doing it, simply by taking attention away from thought and direct it into the aliveness of the body. That means suddenly there's some space between thoughts. And then you can relate to other human beings more genuinely. And you don't need to prepare things that you're going to say next. You don't say things in order to manipulate that person. You don't say things in order to create an effect. They simply, spontaneity comes out of that place. The spontaneity doesn't come out of the accumulated stuff in your mind. The spontaneity comes only to the extent that you can access the dimension that is deeper than mind, which we may call the deeper I, which we may call alert stillness. That is always there. Alert spaciousness. Access that, so mind subsides, then you live differently. The more you access, now at the moment, these are only glimpses for you, but that's good enough. A glimpse later becomes a wider space of that. So that is something to remember, not as a memory, but to remember to do in your daily life as much as possible. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you are talking to, or even when you're alone, go within sometimes and feel that the body is alive. There's life in my hands. You're not imagining anything, you actually feel that there is an aliveness here. And then once you can feel the hands, you can feel the arms, the feet, the legs. You are inhabiting the body.